Welcome back to Muscles and Nonsense, the Man podcast. My name's Thomas, and that is the introduction for this, and you know it. Everybody that listens is listened to pretty much all of them, and I really appreciate it also. Thank you, everyone. We now have a very, very skinny-looking Ross.
Skinny. Fuck off. Lean.
Face, man.
We'll go lean. Skinny. Fucking hell. That's like what my granny would say.
I'm probably old enough to be. I love it. I love it.
What's your favourite monster?
Do you know what? I actually had one last week that was like a pinky colour, but I don't know if it was like the Lewis Hamilton one. It felt like it was alright. White's probably my favourite though. I don't really drink them, to be honest.
Good, we can continue.
Ross is now, what are we, 5 days out? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I guess 4 days once we get through today.
4 days out. So, right, what does it feel like to be 4 days out from a bodybuilding show?
Shit the bed. So, when did we go see Ali? We saw Ali the weekend of the 10th, I think it was, and he was like, wow, I've never seen anybody so fucked on prep in my life. Like, I was just like a shell of a man. I was just, yeah, I didn't really have anything left. Sorely depleted. So we ran some high days, and then on the Monday, he pulled cardio down from 45 minutes to 25 minutes, and food very, very gradually started going back up. Now, I thought that when that happened, I don't know what I thought, it was like some sort of magic spell or something, and fatigue would just disappear and I'd feel brand new again. I can assure you that's not what's happened. We're at the point now where food is, on training days and rest days, somewhere around 2,700 calories, and I thought, fuck, that's a good number of food. I'm going to be feeling pretty good on that. Every single mouthful that I take of a meal at the minute seems to make me feel more tired. It's like my body has the food and goes, nah, it's not enough. That's not enough. We're going to need more of that. So there's still this huge just feeling of fatigue and just feeling worn out. But that, I think that shows how deep I was before that, because I've got more energy now than I did previously. Obviously the food is helping, but I still feel, so I must have been really fucking bad before, because I still feel pretty shitty at the moment, but this is much improved from what it was at. Like, if you'd spoken to me maybe last week, it would have been a struggle.
Well, I remember I texted you. I can't remember if I messaged you or we spoke on Instagram, and you were like, mate, I am fucked. And when you were saying that, I was like, he must be hurting.
Yeah. I had like nothing. I had nothing. Just knowing that there was no part of me that was going to quit was the only thing that was keeping me going. There was nothing else that was keeping me going other than this just sheer desire to not give up. I can't explain just how fucked I was. It's a whole new level of hanging.
Yeah, yeah. So for the people that are listening, like, could you kind of give an explanation of like what permanent fatigue feels like?
Okay, so it's like there's a certain level of annoyance that comes with it, where people obviously want to have a conversation with you, people want to ask you how you're doing, they want to know a little bit maybe about what's going on, and it's like, fuck off. I don't have the energy. I just don't have the energy to talk to you, you know? And as much as you want to, it's like, I really don't have anything. So sometimes it's just, you'll get a one-word answer. And it's not that you're like, no, I don't like you, don't really want to talk to you. It's a case of, I have no energy. Like, the energy I'm using right now, I'm using to sit up straight and keep my eyes open. You're not going to get a sentence out of me. So there's that level of just being really, really worn out. But then it's the heavy legs, I think, that are the real killer. Like, when we're at work, our restroom is upstairs, so I'd be just there, like, pulling myself up the stairs with these heavy ass legs, and I think that that's the biggest thing that I felt fatigue wise, is just how much of a struggle it is just to do the basic things like move. take
Okay,
yourself
so
to the toilet sort of thing. You're like, okay, I really need to go to the toilet, but do I have the energy to get myself there? Is it going to be a sit down wee kind of day?
that was I got that's what I got to. Um, so you like for the people that are listening, like they're obviously like this is extreme. Like you need to understand that what we're doing is extreme. We're probably going to get kicked off Spotify again because this is like what 15 and a half weeks since the first one we got.
No, it'll be 17. It'll be 17 and a half weeks that we're at now.
Sorry, I lost 2 weeks of my life there. So 17 and a half
Okay.
weeks. We got kicked off. For those listening, we weren't, for some reason, our very first episode wasn't acceptable for Spotify. I listened back. I'm still not sure
Okay, so
why.
tomorrow will be the end of week 17 of
Oh,
credit.
okay. So there's like a big difference from where Ross was then to now. Ross had way higher levels of body fat. Your body uses that as energy if you don't get enough, just by chance one day. So Ross, I want you to try and explain in just your own feelings. Like it doesn't have to be like what is different from what you've done this time, like with regards feeling, to other fat losses or diets that other people may have been on in the past.
Um, that's an interesting question, actually. I think it's just the level of consistency and commitment really is the main difference. We know that fat loss or dieting is achieved through achieving a calorie deficit, sustaining a calorie deficit. However, people in day-to-day life, like if this was a normal fat loss phase and Alice said to me, do you want to go out we're going to go to the cinema, maybe we can have a pizza before. And I wasn't dieting with a set end goal where I had to be peeled and shreddy. I'd go, yeah, cool, let's just go, we can have a pizza. It's cool. Like I can bank some calories or whatever. That's the difference between people who are maybe on comp prep and then your usual gem pop clients who have a life. And I'm not saying that my life's completely stopped. Like we obviously have been away to Aberdeen and still been in social settings, but I've maybe had to take food with me or say, no, sorry, I can't partake in the food this time. Now, I know of somebody recently who is currently dieting and getting a little bit maybe frustrated with their results, okay? And they went away for a business trip, which is something that's completely out with their control. They have been sent away on a business trip. They then have to go make the best of that situation, okay? They meet up with a client who says, I know somewhere really good that we can go for lunch. Turns out it's a chippy. Okay. Now, I've got two trains of thought on this, and I don't know if it's just me being in prep. Just going to side note that really quickly with just because this is how I approach things doesn't mean that this is how everybody should approach things, okay? Just because I have this mindset of I do this doesn't mean that you've got to do this, but the client takes you out for lunch, okay? And they say, right, okay, we're going to the chippy. You're currently frustrated with the progress that you're maybe not making in your fat loss phase. Do you say, sorry, I'm not going to have, thank you for the kind offer of buying me lunch or whatever, but I'm not going to have anything at the moment? Or do you go, oh yeah, I better have something from the chippy because it might be rude if I say no?
What
Obviously,
are you
in
asking?
prep, there's only one thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So obviously in prep, there is only one right answer there. It's a case of sorry, I can't have the chippy because it doesn't align with my goal. In a normal situation, in a normal dieting phase, and I'm going to ask you, if you have a client who's frustrated with the progress that they're not making, do you go with you didn't have to have the chippy, you could have said no, or do you go with you've had a chippy, it's not the end of the fucking world, deal with it, roll with it?
So I often give clients the choice. I'll say to them, right, I'm going to say two things here. Whichever one either frustrates you or annoys you the most, it's maybe the one that you need to hear. However, if you do feel like just now is the time you need support and you don't just need a boot up the arse, I'm going to give you both. And I would say, like, this maybe sounds harsh, but you didn't need to eat that fish supper. Like, if that person told you to go jump off a cliff, would you do it? I know that sounds extreme, but if that person's then getting upset through the week because they're not seeing progress, because they're always going out to eat, they're not wanting to take any control over their meals, I would then say to them as well, like, look, your lifestyle maybe is not allowing for you to lose fat just now. So what we have to look at is other health markers or other options for you to improve your health. Sometimes people just like, sometimes I have had people just kind of say like, I think you're right, maybe it isn't the right time just now. I think I'm actually just going to leave. And you're like, oh, that is fair enough. Some people as well, what they'll do is they'll be like, do you know what, actually, the fact that I even thought about, I don't know if I should be eating a chippy again tonight. And then I'll say to them, like, before you would never have thought of that, you would have just ate it aimlessly. That's progress. That's you becoming more self-aware and taking more responsibility over what you're eating.
Yeah.
I
think it's very difficult as well. I just want to make the point that it's very hard when you're making a lifestyle change to try and see things a little bit differently. To go, okay, I've had that chippy. It's not the end of the world. It's like I can, have that one meal and get straight back to, normal eating the next day, or make sure that for the next however many days I'm on my calories. It's trying to get people to see that the one meal isn't what fucks you up. It's what you do consistently that is the block on your progress. But then it's also helping them to understand that they do have a choice.
Yeah.
You can the one thing that I say to clients almost every single day at the moment is you can control what you can control. You can control what you ate, unless that person has pinned you down and force-fed you that fish supper. You have control over, okay, I don't want to eat that, or yes, okay, I chose to eat that. And you also then have control over whether or not you think it's rude saying no to somebody who is trying to give you or offering you something. I don't want to word it so that it sounds like they have to have it, but somebody's offered you something. Do your goals mean more to you than appearing rude? And in whose eyes is it rude if you say, no, I don't really fancy having a chippy? Thanks anyway.
Yeah. So I also flip this on its head. So say it's like work related, and they're like, oh, I don't want to insult or offend a client. I'll say to them, like, if this client knows what you're doing, and then you tell them, like, look, unfortunately at the minute I'm working towards something that means a lot to me, so I'm going to pass up on it. But what I'll do is I'll have like a diet juice while you have it. Or look, if we get takeaway, I'll be able to sit and eat it with you. They may see that like self-discipline, that adherence and that hard work, that they're like, fuck, this person's going to get the job done that I need done.
Yeah, I like that. I like that way of thinking. And I think as well, people or clients especially struggle to see progress other than just the scale weight. Like we were talking about it before, where the scale weight is like the only thing that people see is progress. But this same client is fucking killing it in the gym, like making huge amounts of progress in the way that they're moving, the weights that they're moving. We're starting to work towards things like morning routines and the way that they see food, and switching from fueling up solely on protein bars for their protein sources. There is progress being made hugely in other areas, but because this one business trip came up that they think is completely fucked things, it's like, oh no, I'm not making any progress, it's a complete disaster.
Yeah.
I think that people need to appreciate where progress is being made and how many different areas you can make progress in at one time.
100%. The example that I use a lot as well for people is, right, I couldn't step into their job and completely run their role. There may be one or two aspects of it that I could pick up and get right. And there'd be the things like the small basics, like the total basics. Tracking calories accurate, I think, is actually pretty hard. And I think especially, like for Gen Pop people that have maybe never tracked their calories, have zero clue about portion control, have zero clue about macros, because macros carries over to calories, like the amount of calories in each thing. That if you don't have any clue on it, and you're trying to like guess almost, or you're trying to like do your best but still guessing in a way, that must be about 100 grams. That must be about 40.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to get right. Like, it's a really hard thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
almost
think as well, like, it's...
No, you go,
You've
Ross.
kind of got to see it as a skill.
100%.
You've got to see it as a skill. So if you wanted to get better at something, like if you wanted to, I don't know, fucking learn a new language or become a better footballer or something, you'd be practicing it as much as you possibly could. It's a skill.
Yeah.
Same with counting calories. It's something that you develop and learn, and it sounds daft because calorie counting is all the rage now. Everybody's like, yeah, count my calories, bro. Like, everybody does it.
Yeah.
And it sounds daft to think that that is a skill. But when you consider like lifestyles and social events, etc., and how to build in calorie tracking into these things, it's probably one of the most complex things that you're going to do for the first, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Do you know what like really blows me away as well? Is like in the fitness industry now, like they're really trying to push intuitive eating. Like become an intuitive eater, become an intuitive eater. Like that is the goal. That's the end goal. But if you imagine like a career
Yeah.
path, and we're talking here like the first 6 weeks, you're trying to learn how to track calories. Like once you learn how to track calories, you don't go from tracking calories to just like guessing portions. You just get better at tracking calories. You know, like you just get better and better. You get more and more accurate. You start to realize that like, oh, I can actually switch these sources. Oh, I can actually eat this and this, and this equates to the same as this, and this. Like it doesn't go from right. I've managed to get a day's tracking calories right. I know what I'm doing now. Like it's not like that.
Yeah. I'm intuitive eater, yeah.
My girlfriend is Lisa, fiance, whatever you're supposed to call her at grown up ages. I can say to her, and this is no word of a lie, right? So I'm the personal trainer. I'm the one with the health, like the sport and exercise science degree, the HND in sports coaching, the 10 years experience doing this. Like it's me that does that. I'll ask Lisa, how many calories do you think are in that? And she's normally within 50. She's on like, and I mean,
that's impressive.
Everything. Like normally within 50. And what I'll do is I'll see what's on my plate. I know because I've weighed it out. I'm still at the stages where I weigh everything out. I weigh everything out and I track it. But it's because I don't want to fill my brain up with how many calories are in something just looking at it. Like I think it's easier for me to just weigh it and then track it. I'll know exactly, and I'll say to Lisa, like, how many calories do you think are there? And she'll be within 50 on everything. It's mental. But like
That's
for
impressive.
her,
That's a skill in itself.
oh, it's unbelievable. But it could also be a bit of talent because when I say to her, like, how did you figure that out? She's like, well, I know that that's going to be about this, and that's that, and that's that, and that's that, and I just added it together. And
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's like really impressive. But that is like, and the thing though with tracking your calories, like you yourself personally now, you know, if you weigh out X amount of rice or cream of rice or oats, whatever you're having, you add X amount of whey, you add a couple raspberries, strawberries, you know that fits into your day. You maybe don't know the exact amount of calories, maybe you do know the calories, but you know that fits into your day. And eventually what then starts to carry over is you do start to see that like, right, fuck, that's a bit much, or I could have a little bit more. But I think it's like such an advanced thing for people to be trying to, I don't really know
I think there's an element of like laziness that comes into it with people.
Yeah.
And I mean, because there is an element of difficulty to it, people get frustrated and they're like, "Ah, fuck, I can't do this shit." Like, "Ah, fuck, this is too difficult," and then they almost just give up a bit, and then that leads you down the whole rabbit hole of do your goals mean that much and all that shit that is a whole different story. But it does. It takes time to learn to do it, and I think when it comes to like planning your food in advance and whatnot, like trying to keep things as simple as you possibly can. Like I did a little bit of a story on it yesterday, where people are always chasing variety. They're like, "Oh, I'm bored of my diet. Oh, what can I eat that's different?" Like, why? What? Why do you feel the need to eat? Like, and then if you think about meal prep, if you're going to get real and serious about your tracking of calories here, if you have over the course of 7 days, you're like, right, okay, I need to be stimulated at every single meal with the most fucking fantastic flavor sensation that money can buy, and you have that. So then you've got 7 days. You're eating 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day. Okay, so that's 28 meals, yeah, that you're now going to try and vary every single one of them. your fucking head is going to be fried. Your meal prep is going to take you fucking hours. Good luck trying to fit all that into MyFitnessPal. I hope you've got enough pots, pans, trays, and space in your oven, because your meal prep is going to be a fucking circus. You're just going to cause yourself so much decision fatigue of trying to figure out what to eat for, potentially 28 meals across the week. There is nothing wrong with consistently eating the same food sources and maybe varying seasonings or spices or vegetables, or having maybe like 4 or 5 different carb sources across the week, or use different sauces, things that you can digest well. Because you add in all this different variation of food, next thing you know, you need to go to the toilet X number of times across the day, or you're bloated, or you feel lethargic and like things are sitting heavy, but you don't know what it is that's caused you this digestive discomfort because you've added in 50 million different food sources in one full go. Everybody's just looking because of, like, you see on Instagram as well, all these pages of people who are doing amazing meal prep, and it all looks colourful and bright, so everybody thinks that their meal prep should look like that every single day. There's nothing wrong with eating food that you digest well that maybe isn't the most exciting, but tastes good. You know you're going to hit your numbers, you know you're going to digest it well. It's made your life a lot easier when it comes to meal prep. Stop trying to fucking just, I don't know, like complain about being bored all the time, or like, I need variety in my life. You don't. You need to be fucking consistent.
I'd agree. I would definitely agree. Things that people need to know as well is, right, Ross has been doing what Ross needed to do every single day for 17 weeks on Friday. When Ross is doing this, Ross is seeing progress, consistent progress. Things aren't fucking, I'm not sure. He probably, other than like fatigue, energy being real low, maybe joints aching a little bit, sleep maybe going to pot, that are caused purely by being such a low level of body fat, I bet his body is functioning like clockwork. I bet you get tired at exact same time, like ready for bed, exact same time every day. I bet you wake up. I bet you probably wake up now without an alarm, ready to go. You know what you need to do. I bet you go to the toilet, pretty much. Well, maybe that's kind of dying down a little bit now, where you're being, food's going up a little bit. Maybe you start going a little bit more, but there's no waste. Everything's just getting used. Like, I've always found that, and this is something that I'd like you to talk about, is like, I realized that it was like how the human body is supposed to kind of run. Like, similar foods, you eat for fuel, you eat foods that you like, but after a while you start to realize how good things like lettuce tastes. And I know that sounds fucking ridiculous to a lot of people, but you'll be able to kind of testify to this, like, how good does a meal feel as opposed to taste now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned lettuce as well. We were rattling through so much salad just as it got to a point where food was quite low, so volume's low, so you look for things that will add volume to your meals and help satiate you a little bit. See salt on some salad, mate. Holy fuck. It obviously shows where I've been, but that is one of the greatest fucking pleasures of prep so far, is just discovering how nice it is to have something as simple as a bag of, Lidl's crunchy lettuce, put some fucking salt on it, and it's fantastic. Helps you feel a little bit fuller. It's fucking brilliant, but you're right. I don't know, you don't, obviously you want a little bit of flavour. Like, I'm at the point where I've got cravings for flavour. Like, I've just added a tiny bit of diluting juice to my water just to try and give me a little bit of flavour with my food, but yeah, I don't know, you just appreciate how everything tastes. I think because you remove all of the artificial flavours, or the majority of the artificial flavours, because I've always kept Cocoa Pops in, but things like square bars, etc., they are taken out. There's like less jam going in, there's less artificial sweeteners and refined sugars, etc., going in, so you maybe just start to appreciate the taste of vegetables a bit more, or how good salad tastes, etc., etc. And then I think the beauty of that is, like, we're running high days the next 2 days where carbs and fats go up a little bit. Just we're going to fill up. You see, when I have a square bar, it's like one of the best things that I've ever tasted. But when I was having square bars 5 times a week after a workout, it's like, oh yeah, cool, I'm just going to sit and eat my square bar. Now I nibble round the corner of the square bar, and then I go around the edge, and then I've got a way of eating it. Like I sit and I appreciate I appreciate what I'm eating. I'm at the point where calories are at a point where I can add a bagel back in. The bagel is now the last thing that I eat on the plate because I want to be able to appreciate something that I haven't had for X number of weeks. We all just take for granted, I think, foods that are readily available, like I'm saying, like a Squares bar. If you were to take a Squares bar out of somebody's diet for 16 weeks and then go, right, okay, go and have two of these Square bars, two Soreen bars, 160 grams of Cocoa Pops, they're going to be like, oh my god, that was fucking amazing. Eat that thing every single day, and then say, okay, after that meal that you've just had those Cocoa Pops, you've got to go and have vegetables and salad. They'll be like, oh, fuck.
Nah, no thank you.
No, they haven't built up that appreciation of how good proper food actually tastes.
Yeah, yeah. I also think as well when you diet like you have, I think you become hypersensitive. I think like your senses around food. So I can remember being on a train and someone was eating a Snickers and I could smell the chocolate, the caramel, and the nugget. Like I could smell it. Like I could smell the salt on the peanuts. Like I could smell it and I remember being like, oh man, that smells unbelievable. But I remember being like, I don't think I've ever smelled a Snickers bar before in my life.
No, no. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
And I think as
I
well,
totally
like
get that. On you go.
I think as well, like we're saying here, like there is, believe it or not, for all those people, like Ross just said there, if you were to eat all this like kind of processed food, this refined sugars, this stuff that is designed to, it's not designed to fill you up. It's designed to make you want to eat more of it. When you eat a load of that stuff,
Yeah.
and then you go and eat some vitamins and minerals from salad, it just tastes like water. It's like everybody says, and there'll be people being like, "Oh bullshit, lettuce is water. Lettuce tastes like water. Cucumber tastes like water." They all have different flavors. It's just our palates are like
Yeah.
used to this like punch of flavor in the mouth as opposed to, oh actually there is some flavors there. There is a bit of spice. There's a bit of like, and you notice it. And yeah, that hypersensitivity. Like I think it's a good thing, and this leads me into leads me nicely into like you talking there about like being in the moment with your food. You become far more mindful when you're eating, don't you? Like you actually do pay attention to when you're eating.
Oh yeah. And as well, this will be something that you obviously know, but you're going to enjoy your food more if you sit and think about what you're eating. And that sounds completely fucking mental, but we all know that we know that digestion starts before you actually eat the meal. Like if you think about, so if somebody says to me at the moment, how good would a pizza be? My mouth, I'll start salivating, okay? So there's obviously the digestive process is almost starting a little bit then. You smell your favorite food, so you're dieting, okay, and you're walking down the street and you walk past a Chinese. Oh, yes, wet mouth, like digestion is starting. You sit down and your food is in front of you, and you've put a little bit of effort into how it looks. So you've got something green on your plate, there's some carrots in there, your chicken's got some seasoning on it, you've made some nicely spiced rice or something. You're getting all of these smells in, yeah, and you're going, oh my god, this is going to be fucking fantastic. It looks brilliant, it smells fantastic. Usually you might go, right, okay, let's put something on YouTube, let's watch some YouTube when I'm eating my dinner. You're not actually appreciating it, you've just absolutely smashed your scran in about 3 seconds, you haven't appreciated what you've just eaten. See now, there's times where yes, okay, I'll maybe use YouTube, but I've not really watched what's going on because I'm just so thankful to be eating the food. I think if you just take your time and appreciate what you're eating, one, obviously your body's going to digest it a little bit, but you're going to, a little bit better, sorry, but you're probably going to feel more satiated from the fact that you've actually considered what is going on. I genuinely think that sometimes it's what leads people to overeating as well. If you get really excited about a meal, right, you're going out for I don't know, a carvery on the Sunday and you've been thinking about it for weeks, it's been planned for the family for weeks, and you're really excited, you love a carvery, and you go out and you fucking like smash through your plate, rapid style, you go up for more and more and more, you're on your fourth plate and you've smashed through it, and then the dessert trolley comes out, or the dessert trolley's in the corner, and you're like, oh my god, yes, we're getting on some of that, and you smash your way through some of that. What happens then? About, I don't know, half an hour to 40 minutes later, next thing you know, you've got to unbutton your trousers because you're sat there and the body has actually now had time to sit, digest the food, and realise, wait a minute, we're actually full. We probably should have stopped after like 2 plates and a dessert. Not enough of us are appreciating the food that we're eating. And because we're not appreciating the food that we're eating, it often tends to lead to us thinking that we're still hungry when we're not. We've eaten so fast that the body's trying to fucking catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And it just leads then to people just continuing to eat and trying to fill themselves up, when if they just stopped, thought about what was going on, what was going in, they'd maybe be in a little bit of a better place.
Yeah, so this is going to turn into like a two-part question here for you. Maybe, yeah, two-part probably. So something that I noticed when I was like dieting and prepping is like, and you've touched on it, and anybody that's listening, you can rewind back, and if you listen how many times Ross has said appreciate and thankful, I think when you strip life from all its luxuries, like, because you've realised now how often you spoiled yourself before with food, with drink, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you'll have realised that now, eh? Like, you do start to notice, actually, my body doesn't need that much to make me feel better. And it's like the old cliche, like, it's the small things that matter.
Definitely.
What are some of like
100%.
the smallest things that you have been appreciating the absolute most just recently?
So obviously, I've already said it, but salad, which is bizarre. It's not something I ever thought I would consider. Just actually sitting and appreciating a meal, like we've just spoken about briefly, where you just sit down and you just go, "Oh my God, this is going to be so good," and just take your time and you just enjoy it and you just eat it. And I think, I don't know, like just being able to just sit. I think it's weird. It sounds mental, but just being able to just be sitting and be present in the moment. And there's lots of times where I'm absolutely fried and I don't appreciate what's going on around me.
Yeah,
But I've had a few moments on prep where I've sat and I've gone, I'm really lucky for having Alice, for what she's done for me. And I think it's quite easy to, I'm going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but fuck it, let's go. There's an element of, or there has to be an element of selfishness on prep. There has to be, in order for you to stick to calories, step count, cardio, workouts, get some good quality sleep, all that sort of stuff. There has to be an element of selfishness. And it'll apply to people outside of prep as well, where we get so busy living our own lives and we get caught up in our own drama that we don't appreciate what or who we've got around us. Okay, and that's pretty deep. I'm not going to go down into other people's lives, but there's been moments where I've just stopped and gone, fuck me, like, I am so appreciative for the small things that maybe Alice does that I wouldn't have noticed before. Like, one day she made me an omelette, and it was one of the best things I'd ever eaten. Also, we know that food almost tastes better when somebody else cooks it for you, but the time that she'd taken, I think we'd been at the gym or something, and I needed to do a bit of meal prep or whatever, and she helped me out by making me an omelette. It's just the things like that that you normally maybe wouldn't appreciate, where you go and you take a step back and you almost have this sort of weird outer body experience where you're like, come on to fuck, like you need to pay more attention or more respect to this person or this situation or what you've got going on around you. It's weird the levels of focus and realization that you can have from being in maybe such a depleted state. I don't know if there's some sort of switch that's flicked in your head, some sort of mental side effect to being so hungry, where you're maybe focused on things a little bit more or become hyper aware of things at a certain level, because I know it gets to a point where you become aware of less things when you're completely fucked. But there was a certain stage where I was like, wow, I have got so fucking much to be grateful for. And I think then there was maybe a week where, I think, yeah, it was a week, I think, where Rio came to stay with Alice. Rio's my kid. He lives with his mum, who I'm no longer with. And while I was at work and whatnot, Alice was, helping him come up with a chore list, helping to build in some good sort of behaviours and habits and things that I've always been appreciative of, because coming into a relationship where there's a child present is never going to be easy. But it gets to a point where, like in everybody's life, you need to take a step back and go, wait a fucking minute, I need to be appreciating this a little bit more. I'm super grateful for this. That's happened a few times over prep, maybe more than it has done in the past. So I think just appreciating the things that you actually have rather than what you're chasing is one of the biggest things that I've become grateful for. It also makes you realise where you don't want to waste any more energy, though.
Yeah.
I do not like my full-time job. Not even in the slightest. And being on prep and like I've known for a while that I want to make coaching my full-time thing. That's what I'm working towards. But being on prep and having no energy to go to work and to spend time in an environment that I don't really like with the majority of people who maybe, you know, you only spend time with them because you work with them. And that's no disrespect to anybody. I'm sure they're, you know, where they are, some of them are really great people, but it's made me realise where I don't want to spend the majority of my time. And that's in a job that I fucking hate. And then you've kind of got to pull yourself back a little bit because you've got prep head on where you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just leave. Like, we'll just leave. Just leave the job. But then you've got to go, wait a minute, whoa, slow the fuck down. Think this through a little bit. But I think that whilst it helps you appreciate what you've got, it maybe also makes you realise what you don't want to do more of or where you don't want to spend more time.
100%. 100%. And this is like, see everything that you've just experienced. This is why I think everybody should do like some sort of extreme dieting, because I think you learn so much about not just you as an individual, but more about like the life that you want. So like you start to realize like there's people in this life that fuck do everything for me, and they like bring me so much happiness. And then there's other things and people that, you know, actually I don't know if they support me as much as I thought before. I don't know if they actually help or add any value to me. And you realize. And I think it is from like stripping back all the luxuries, all the... Because like you'll know yourself, you'll have had friends that you would have went and boozed with. You thought they were friends, but it was the boozing that was like masking that like you don't really like each other. The boozing was maybe their excuses for being arseholes. Like, or there's going out to eat. There's maybe friends that like, oh, it's Tuesday, we'll get 2 pizzas on Tuesday, come on, come down to mine. They're not your friend, they just need an escape, or like they're needing like an excuse or a reason to be able to do the things that they want to do. And I think like you're experiencing, you're getting like, and this is the thing, remember I asked you last time, is there things that you're realising about society or people around you? Like, I think you realise so much about the world around you that it's almost like constant meditation, I think, nearly. And people will be like,
Yeah,
what
it's
what
hard
are
to
you on about?
explain it.
But it's, and like, do you know, and a thing that you've mentioned like 3 or 4 times as well is like being in the moment. Because it sucks so bad, there's no distractions. You can't just be like, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to look on my phone. Like, there's things that need to be done that day. There's feelings of like low energy, high levels of fatigue that you have to go through. And you can't just like, you'll be able to tell us now better than I can. You cannot ignore them, can you? They're there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... I don't know, like, I've really enjoyed prep. Like, Ali asked me just to speak a little bit on his vlog when we were down, and I have loved 99% of prep and the things that it's helped me realise and the levels of productivity that it's brought me, and that sort of laser focus on, or what it proves, and the levels of laser focus you can have when you're serious about a goal. Like, there's so much that I've learned about lots of things, and like you say, about people who, like, that's something I just want to touch on really quickly, is lots of us waste time in environments or with people who aren't really serving us a purpose. Now, I know that as we grow older and we all have adult lives, we've all got responsibilities, we're all very busy, we've all, you know, people grow up with families, etc., etc. But there are people who, when when I'm now withdrawn away from social settings more than I was before, because I realised quite quickly before prep that I'm not a big socialiser and I don't have time for fake people or people that I can't really be fucked with. But when you're at a point where you're depleted and socializing really isn't a thing, there are fewer people checking up on you, than you maybe thought there would have been. The
Yeah.
amount of people who've said to me, or messaged me maybe randomly, or replied to a story, etc., saying good luck, I hope it goes really well, are people who don't live here and people that I don't really have much contact with. They're people from like social media that I've opened up friendships with, maybe through prep or through business. The amount of people locally who have come and said, you're doing really well, or wow, you look great, or I hope your show goes really well, is definitely less than what I thought it might have been. And that was a little bit naive of me. Like I say, I pulled myself away from friendships and social circles that I was maybe in, a few years back or whatever. So I don't know if I should have expected people to come and wish me well, etc. But what I think and what I anticipate, now I might be completely fucking getting this completely wrong, but what I anticipate is when stage photos come out, when show day comes around, when there's posts going up of me on stage or after stage, people will go, wow, that's fucking amazing, well done, you've done really well, you look fantastic. Well, do you know what? And this is maybe not the right way for me to think about it, and somebody might say, no, you need to, that's not the right way. Do you know what? Don't bother, okay? Because when I needed somebody just to check up on me, or when I would have liked somebody to come and offer me words of support when I was fucking starving and doing 45 minutes of cardio at 4:20 in the morning, where were you? Don't come and fucking tell me how well I've done after I've made it to stage when you didn't take 2 seconds just to message me and say, hey buddy, hope you're doing alright. Looks like it's really difficult.
Yeah. Have you ever seen
And I don't know
the?
if that's the wrong way. I don't know if that's the wrong way to look at it, and if I should just be like, wow, that's really great that you have actually taken the time to congratulate me. But I don't know, like if you can't be beside me when I'm like at the lowest part of prep or at the hardest part of prep, I don't really know if I want you there giving me some sort of false pat on the back once I've made it to the end of prep.
Yeah. So I guess there's two ways to look at it. One, maybe you've made it look a lot easier than people think. So maybe they've not thought like, oh, geez, Ross is really struggling. Even when you're on like, Jesus Christ, guys, I'm struggling. Like they maybe still be like, he sounds all right. So yeah. I do get it, but I also think as well, like the other side of it. Have you ever seen the meme and it's like what people see and it's like first, second, third, and it's like crowds of people cheering, but then you're looking from the back and there's like failures, hard work, consistency, and it's all this stuff. Like they don't actually get to see it. Like they don't get to see it. No. And I think that also ties into like the society that we kind of live into, that they celebrate the outcomes. A lot of people don't ever even think about the effort that has to go in to get there. And you'll say to clients, you'll say to your own clients, like, look, maybe things haven't gone the way that you wanted them to, but look at the effort that you've put in this week.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're putting in because I've done it. I message you from time to time, ask how you're getting on, because I know what it feels like.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean, though. Like, I've met you once. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've met you in person once.
Yeah.
And you've probably messaged me more than people that I've known for years now.
Yeah. There's other aspects to it as well. Some people don't give a shit, Ross. they like genuinely don't.
Yeah.
But then when they do
no, they don't. And I think that people are busy also. Like, I get it. People like, that's why I prefaced that whole little bit that I just went on with, that I understand people are busy, people have their own lives. I totally get that.
Yeah. But the thing is as well, and like something that I like you know how people say like you come into this world on your with nothing and you're on your own, and you go out of it with nothing on you're on your own. Something that I realized like during my first dieting was like, anything that I want to do, I have to do it. Nobody can do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's something nice in that. And like a big thing that I think that you're gonna love, and I've been pretty good at like guessing some of the stuff that you like in the past for you. I think something that you're gonna love is on show day, like the camaraderie. Camaraderie? Is that how you say it? Yeah. Camaraderie. Like everybody in the back. Fuck, you look good, man. How was your prep? because they've all gone through it. And I think as well, like we say it to each other regularly, like everybody can lose body fat, but not everybody can do this. You know, like,
Yeah, man.
but once you're in amongst the everybody's that can do it, there's this like you almost just congratulate yourself. Like you give yourself a pat on the back. You're like you're there, and you're like, you know what, I did this. I got myself here. And another thing as well though is like you mentioned Alice. You when you do your post, you'll practically tell Ali that you love him, like, because these people do get you through it. They do. They genuinely do get you through it. And I'm glad that you picked up on the Alice thing as well, because I can remember there was a day Lisa made me a cup of coffee, and I was like, I couldn't stop saying it as well. I was like, I hope you know how much I love you. Like, honestly, I can't express how much I love you. And that was like one of the biggest things that I appreciated. Like, it was just her. But we've said there, like, you do start to notice, like, the people that push you on, there's going to be people that pull you back. But even the people that you pull back, they might be family, they might be like relatives, loved ones. Like, you still love them, but you just see them a little bit less. You just talk to them a little bit less. And there's the people that push you on, and you will speak to them more. And
I think people don't. I think as well, there's that element that people don't really understand it. I think like 2 weeks ago, bearing in mind that would have been me dieting for roughly 15 weeks. People said to me, "Are you dieting? Like, look at your face. Like,
yeah,
are you fucking serious? Is that a fucking serious question? Like, what the fuck? Have you had your head on backwards or something?" But then, like, even like you say, like even family members, like I put up a post. It must be a couple of weeks ago now about like how fucked I was, about how low my energy was, and then my old man commented on it saying, "Oh, that doesn't sound great." Yeah, no fucking shit, man. I'm like balls deep into prep. What do you want from me? But then on the other end of the spectrum, like my mum is like telling me how fantastically well I'm doing and how great I'm doing and you know how proud she is and all that stuff that makes you just go, yeah, that's that. You know, I appreciate that. I like that. So I
yeah,
think it just takes for somebody just to say, even if they don't fully understand, just if somebody is listening to this and you know somebody who's prepping or at a difficult stage of their life that you don't fully understand, please just tell them that they're doing well and you're proud of them. Or please just ask them if they're okay. It just takes you 2 seconds, and like, whilst that, you know, all joking aside, like somebody might just need that. Hey man, just let you know, I know that this must be really difficult, or sorry, I don't really fully understand, but I hope you're doing okay.
yeah.
Or I can see that you're trying really hard. It takes you 2 seconds.
Yeah. Something that I guess I noticed as well, and it's clicking exactly like you are, there was a different support that I got from men and women. So women were far more complimentary, telling me like things look good, like, oh, the effort you're putting in is amazing. But blokes, like a lot of the time, there was 2 times with 2 guys. One guy's like, I love him. He's like an uncle. He's like my dad's best mate. And I remember him saying, like, you're just needing a full English breakfast. You look like you need a full English breakfast. And I remember being like, I was like, you motherfucker, you don't even know the half of it. Like, I could do with like 10 full English breakfasts, but I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
that was his way
Yeah,
of
so
like, on you go.
just on that, sorry, like I've got a really, really good friend who has been really supportive in previous situations and circumstances. And a couple of times when I've like come through with my food at work and I've sat down at the table, they've said something like, "How good would it be to put some cheese on top of that shit?" And I get it. You're trying to have a little bit of banter. Way lads, like that fucking shit does not help. Please don't do that to somebody if they're dieting. Please support somebody who's dieting. Like I sat down and it was like a big bowl of salad, some tuna, red onion, and sweet corn. The person to my left said, "Oh, that makes me feel sad. I don't like sweet corn in my tuna." I don't really give a fuck if you like sweet corn in your tuna or not. One, this is my meal. And then my good friend said, "How good would cheese be?" Do you know what? Just let people eat their shit, man. Like,
Just
please,
eat,
just fucking let people eat.
I remember as well, like being like, I think I was like, maybe like 5 days out or something. Like and unlike you, my first photo shoot was not something that I actually wanted to do. I just wanted to get lean. and I had a photo shoot, and I remember being like, right, I'm lean. I don't need to keep doing this, and I was genuinely about to pack it in. Like, I can go on to that as well. Like, I was like, I don't really need to keep doing this, but I was like 5 days out, absolutely dying, felt like death, and I went into a cafe to get a black coffee, and there was a guy that's I've always regarded him as like in very good shape, like forever. He's always looked good, quite big, quite muscular, strong.
Yeah.
And he knew I was dieting, and he knew because he'd seen me in the gym loads of times struggling, and the cafe was quite busy. And he was like, "All right, what are you going to be eating after you train today then?" And I just finished training, and I was like, "I'm gonna have a bowl of Cocoa Pops." And he just like tutted and rolled his eyes, and I was like peeled to the bone, like ripped, like. And I can remember thinking in my head like, "Why do you think you know better than me? You've never been like this." And I remember like getting angry, and then I like stormed out with my coffee.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
So I think there is an aspect for you as well, Ross, that like I can remember feeling like prep irritated as well. So like little things, like honestly, in 6 months' time, you'll look back and you'll be like, "Can't believe that annoyed me." Like, can't believe I thought that. Like
yeah,
you will have that
yeah.
prep irritation. But no, I know exactly because I know I can remember what it feels like. I can remember when people start giving me their suggestions, but then they'll tell you, "Oh, I've been trying this Weight Watchers thing and it's not really working," and you're like, "I don't know how many more times I need to tell you. You just need to be in a calorie deficit." And you've just watched me turn myself into a skeleton. And I'm suggesting that you could eat this. You don't have to eat this now, but eventually this will help you. And they're like, "Oh no, I think I'd rather just cut carbs." And you're like, "Oh my, all
I'm
right."
just gonna do keto.
Yeah, yeah. You do. You've got the prep irritation. Where if someone's getting something wrong, you're just like, "Why are you so stupid?" Oh man.
Oh no, that's not.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned a couple things about cravings there, do you? Because this is everybody's going to want to know. Like, so this is what everybody needs to understand as well. Like everybody has or the general population has a perception of dieting. They think it is things like cutting carbs out. They think it is things like eating good or clean. Like that's not what it is. It is being in a calorie deficit. It's being in an energy deficit, so not feeding your body the amount of calories that it needs to force it to use fat to make up for that energy. Ross hasn't had things like a cheat day or a cheat meal. He's ran high days where his calories do get bumped up to about maintenance, but as he's mentioned, he's so depleted, his energy's so low. You can see in his face if you're looking. Like his face is gaunt, as it's called. Like his face is so sucked in because his body's starting to pull fat from absolutely everywhere now. Face being one of them. My face is the opposite. I got a big moon head just now, but we can talk about that another time as well. Like Ross has just stuck to a calorie deficit every single day, apart from his high days. But his high days don't really make a difference for 17 weeks. He's not. There's been foods that he's removed, not because they cause you to get fat, not because they're bad, not because they're dirty. He removed them purely because there's a massive amount of calories in them that's not going to be very satiating, which is going to make it more difficult for him. There's potentially not the right macros to cover his days to see his body fuel and function as well as it possibly could just now. You can put these things in, however, it will make things harder. So people won't fully understand, and they'll be thinking, "What is he craving? What are you after? What are you thinking about?" And on you go, and you go. I'll just keep talking as well while he's away. So with Ross doing all of this, food focus, as we spoke about in the previous podcast, goes up. He does start to think about food. You've maybe noticed him getting a bit excited talking about some foods as well. That is just his body's response to not getting enough food for a long time now. He's not had like little things on the sides and then just ignored them. Everything's been accounted for. Everything that he's ate, everything that he's done, every step that he's done, every bout of cardio, everything is accounted for. And one of the most common questions, and I bet people ask you all the time, and I can remember having cravings. Have you had any like weird cravings actually? And is there anything that you are craving at all?
There's nothing particularly that I'm like, oh my god, I'm craving that so bad. But food focus at the moment is definitely at the highest that it's ever been. I think even when I thought it was high before, it seems to be that the more food that's going in, my body's maybe just going, wait a minute, we need more of this shit. Like, and the single biggest thing that people have asked me is, what are you going to eat once you're done? What are you going to eat once shows are over? Pizza.
Yeah.
That is that. There's only one answer to that question. Like, I'm going to have a pizza at some point after my show. But in terms of cravings, like probably sweet, something sweet is what I've craved the most. I think like we're using things like Monster mainly for the caffeine, but just for the sort of sweet taste that I get from it. Because, like I say before, there was maybe quite a lot of square bars and bigger portions of Cocoa Pops, etc., that are just going to help maybe satisfy the odd craving that you would have had. You know, I used to use jam on my bagels and all these things. So once they get removed, like you said, to make way for maybe more of satiating carbohydrate sources, the satiating carbohydrate sources don't tend to be sweet things or things that are going to satisfy those cravings. You know what I mean? It's like a bigger
Yeah.
portion of rice or some potatoes or whatever like that. So I think that the biggest thing that I'm craving is maybe just something sweet. Oh yeah, Reese's. Reese's is my fix.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Aldi and get some of that cereal.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I'll make sure I bring you some along as well at your shows. But they say that you shouldn't do that. Like that is something that maybe we should talk about another time. Like after you've done your shows, like things that you shouldn't do. On like things like people hoard food. They prepare themselves to
Yeah,
have an absolute big binge and blowout. But I'm sure you're kind of talking about those things. I can remember. This is no word of a lie, Ross. I'm dead serious. I can remember after my shoot, I was fucking starving, and I ate like stupid amount. Like I gained 6 kilos the first weekend. Like I went complete binge, complete gorge.
yeah.
I reversed out terribly. But I can remember I had a banana the day of my shoot, and it was the best tasting thing I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable. And I don't know if that's just because that's what the body actually wants. So it was like thanking me. It was like, oh, there's the fiber, there's the potassium or whatever's in bananas. I can't remember now. There's those carbs. Like it was just, yeah. I can remember eating like I had pizza on that as well. But like, hey, let's stop talking about food because I can only imagine it's fucking making you feel more and more hungry. So there's a few weird things that happen on prep, and there's a few weird things that you'll start doing. There's a few weird things that, like, from the outside looking in, people will be like, "What the hell are you up to?" Of these weird things, is there any of them that you've actually quite liked?
Um, I don't know. I think obviously people perceive the whole way that you bring in routine and structure and things like that weird. I guess that we could just, we could put lots of things that normal, healthy, functioning people do as weird, like going to bed at a reasonable time of night or
Yeah,
getting up at whatever time. Like getting up and doing my cardio in the morning has probably been one of the most enjoyable things about prep, and that is weird. Like getting up at 4:20 or 4:15 so I can do my cardio before work. It's weird that it just gives you this sort of sense. I don't know. It's like this energy, or it starts your day in a productive manner, so you feel better going into the day. I can't fully explain what it is that it does, but I think cardio would maybe be one of the more enjoyable things that I've found on prep. Which, like, I fucking hate cardio, but for some reason it's actually been enjoyable, and just knowing that I'm getting up at that time, the first thing I'm going to do is cardio. Sound. Let's box that shit off. First job for the day done. So I don't know. I think just having a routine, maybe, which some people think is weird. They're like, well, nah, I just do my thing. Like my day goes the way that my day goes, sort of thing.
yeah.
But everything from knowing what time I'm getting up, to knowing what time I'm getting to bed, bliss, heaven. I have loved having a routine.
Are your meal times pretty dialed in as well? Do you pretty much eat at exact same time
Yeah,
every single day?
pretty much. Pretty much. What's been weird is because food's gone up ever so slightly. So I wasn't eating my first meal until around like 9 o'clock because food was quite low. So obviously I wanted to spread it out longer so that you know, I wasn't having to leave too long between meals, and then my last meal wasn't too early at night time that I was starving going to bed. So when food went up a little bit, I've obviously pulled my first meal forward by about an hour or something, so I'm eating at like 8, and it's like, whoa, this is a little bit weird. My eating's all out of sync now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like having sort of times when I'm like, right, okay, my body is now telling me that it's nearly mealtime. It's like when it gets closer to bedtime, my body is like I've fallen asleep almost every single night on the couch. When, you know, if I've not been on night shift, every single
Yeah.
night almost Alice has been going, right, let's wake up, we're going to bed. My body knows when it's nearly bedtime. So just like my body knows to almost wake up without an alarm, my body then knows it's right. Okay, it's nearly mealtime. Like I'm due to eat probably about midday usually. So my body's like, right, okay, Roscoe, man, we're gonna need to eat soon. Like getting hungry. So yeah, once you dial in those meal times, it's like you were saying, like your body knows, it gets into that habit of waking up at the same sort of time. Your body will start to know roughly what time you're going to eat at. Your body will know roughly when it's nearly bedtime. Like your body just does these things sort of habitually and routinely because you've built structure into your day to day life.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're kind of getting used to feeling hungry now? Do you quite like the feeling of feeling hungry?
Uh, I'm definitely used to it. I'm definitely used to it. It's not something that I enjoy, and I find that at night time, like the past like 4 nights, I've been like, do you know what? Fuck it. It's like I could just fucking go and smash. Like there's like a cupboard. We've got like the carb cupboard, which is
Yeah.
where I keep like all my bagels and stuff. And if we're running high days, everything goes in there. And then on the bottom shelf, there's like real stuff where when he comes over, that's where his bagels are and all this stuff like that. And there's been
Yeah.
times where I'm like, I will physically open the cupboard, stand and look at it, and then shut it again. So I don't enjoy the hunger. I've never enjoyed hunger, but it's something that I've accepted as, you know, obviously going to be part and parcel of prep. And it took longer for the hunger to kick in than I thought it would. I was like, why is this so easy? Why am I not hungry yet? And now I'm like, yeah, okay, that hunger kicked in really fucking quickly, and I hate it.
It hits hard as well, doesn't it? Like it's not just like, oh, I'm a bit more
Hard.
peckish than normal. You're like all day, nothing fills you up.
No, no.
I can remember. I remember I was, and I don't know if this is a good idea to talk about because it might give you fucking ideas. But I remember I got to a point where I would go to the supermarket and I would go and look and read calories on like biscuits.
Fuck off.
I swear, I swear. But the weird thing was, right, there was nothing in me that was going to eat them. Like I wasn't going to eat them, and I don't really even eat biscuits anyway, like normally. But I would go and look, and I would like be trying to figure out, like, right, I could maybe fit that in if I half a portion of oats. Right, yep, that would work. And I would just put them back. And I would just put them back. And then I would look at another one and I'd be like, geez, oh, I didn't think there would be that many calories in like this tiny little jammy dodger. Like, because every
Yeah, man.
calorie becomes like a prisoner, doesn't it? Like you start,
Yeah.
like, okay, I could get that and I could get that. That's funny.
Yeah, like there's
Eh,
days when I've had like 102 grams of Cocoa Pops or something, just because I know that those two extra grams of Cocoa Pops, I've got those like extra, like, I don't know, 5 grams of carbs or whatever. Fuck yeah, I'm
Yep.
having those two extra grams. You best believe I'm going to use every single fucking gram of carb that I have available, 2 grams or not. Like that shit, 2 grams of Cocoa Pops is nothing. It's like fucking two Cocoa Pops, but I'm
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
having it.
That's mad, mad. So Ross, from I don't know if you'll be able to remember. We spoke a bit like the very first one that was our very first episode, very popular. A lot of people reached out and like spoke about, and you had and we spoke about like your social anxiety. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
feel that you being able to take these steps that you have, you being able to do what you've done, do you feel that's reduced your social anxiety at all?
Yeah, yeah. There is definitely an element of me where I don't have the energy to be bothered about what other people are thinking. I definitely think there is an element where I'm so just like wiped out that I really don't care. I really don't care what people
Yeah,
think. But I do also think that, like we've spoken about, and I do want to point out that me speaking in the way that I'm about to speak, I'm not an egotistical person. I'm not generally an arrogant person, and I don't think that I'm above anybody or anything like that. But like we've alluded to before, I've done something fucking difficult that other people can't do or won't do, and I think that that's definitely given me a little bit of a sense of self-confidence or self-belief that maybe wasn't present in that first podcast. There definitely is a part of me that's like, yeah, I'm doing something that's pretty fucking cool and that is really fucking difficult. So I think I deserve to be proud of myself for it. And I think that there is an element that everybody should be able to, at some point in their life, pat themselves on the back without the fear of being judged as egotistical or arrogant. I think everybody should be able to do that at some point in their life where they say, do you know what? I'm fucking proud of that shit. I fucking did that on my own. Yes, okay, I've also got people like Alice and yourself and Ali and people, a small group of people around me that have helped me at times when I've needed it. But I've done the cardio, I've done the steps, I've gone and done those sessions that I really don't want to do. I've had to take bagels out of my diet. Like, I fucking love bagels. I've had to remove those out of my diet. There's nobody there that's fucking stealing them from me or anything like that. Like, I've had to make tough decisions, sacrifices maybe. I've done that. I've fucking done that. And I'm still here now, 5 days out from show day or whatever, and I'm going to fucking get up on stage and I'm going to show everybody what I've worked for. There is the element of pat yourself on the back if you're proud of something. Fuck anybody who tells you that is big-headed shit or whatever. Like, those people, I think, that tell you that shit's big-headed or egotistical or arrogant or whatever, are threatened by the fact that you have done something that is so fucking difficult, or I don't know, they just don't like that side of people where they're like, do you know what? I'm fucking proud of that. Some people don't like that and they feel threatened by it. But then you're going to get people who go, do you know what? That's fucking class. Like, I posted on my story the other day saying how proud you should be of something if you achieve it, and there were people who said, that's great, like I totally agree with that sort of thing. There are people with the same mentality out there as people who are proud of themselves, who will flock around and sort of be attracted to their kind, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're the same. Like, you agree. Like, you agree that you should be able to pat yourself on the back and be proud of the work that you've put in. That's why you and I get on. That's why there's a friendship there. Because people who have the same mentality as you are drawn to you.
Yeah.
So maybe by being proud of yourself, being able to show off your hard work, maybe you will just naturally sort of gravitate towards your people and away from the people who suck that energy out of you.
I think what happens, and this has just come to me now, is there's the quote that I absolutely love, and it's like, earn your spot at the table. But once you get to that table, you don't talk about what you've done, because everybody at that table has done it. No. So there is like this, and it maybe does sound arrogant, or it does sound, I don't know what the word would be, but like, there is like a hierarchy. There's things that people can do that I can't do, so I'm not allowed to just go and sit and talk to them. There's like people that have a heap of money that I can't just walk up to their front door and, can I come in and talk to you, please? Because they'll be no, get, like, the gated community won't let me in. Like, there is this like hierarchy, and I think maybe this sounds a bit too Jordan Peterson-y here, but I think you should always be trying to like climb up a little bit. Like, you should always be trying to like push yourself up this ladder or whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be that like. And the other thing is as well that I've noticed, once you go up a level, you never look down. You're not looking down upon anybody. You just know that you're at this next stage, and then you go to the next stage, and if you can, you'll reach back and try and pull someone up. You don't look. You're never looking down your note. Like, that's the thing that I've noticed, and I'm not. By no means am I like doing anything special or anybody special, but I work with people that are like multimillionaires. I coach people that are doing huge deals. I've worked with celebrity TV chefs. I've worked with celebrities. Like, I have done this stuff, but they all have this belief in you that they're like, you can do it, but you need to do it. And once you do it, you'll be on this next level, and you can sit at the table and you can talk to us about business. You can talk to us about physique development. You can talk to us about coaching or whatever that next level is. You get there, and then when you're in that circle of people, there's no need to brag. No one's bragging, because everybody at this table's done it.
Nah. Yeah.
And it just kind of clicked in my head.
What's that quote they're always saying about, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I think you should be always, like you're saying, trying to surround yourself with people who are either at a level above you or, are on the same sort of level, achieving the same sort of shit that you're achieving.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like, there's always been part of me where, like, I think at the start of prep, I was like, okay, this is a prep for Granite City. You're going to have big bodybuilders out there who are prepping to go to the Olympia. You might have that level of comparison, do you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, I'm absolutely nothing. Like, what I'm doing is nothing compared to these people. You know, like you're saying, this hierarchy. What I'm doing where I'm
Yeah.
competing for the first time and I look like I look compared to, you know, like Josh Bridgman and the people who are pushing for the Olympia and the people above him who are winning Olympias. There's almost the danger that you can compare yourself to those people, but what you're doing if you're trying to better yourself is, you know, no less relative or no less special. It's just not relative to the people who are above you.
Yeah.
I think everything is relative to you as the individual, and I think that you need to be very mindful that you don't go, oh yeah, well I've done really well here, but that person's doing better than me. Okay, well that's great, but we're not paying attention to that person. Like you're over here, you're on your journey. This person is, you know, maybe they started 10 years before you or whatever like that. I think you've just
Yeah.
got to be
Yeah.
able to take, like I've said, and like you've said, you've got to be able to be in the moment and appreciate where you're at, what you've done, the work that you've put in, and you know all the good stuff that's come out of what you've done.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess if we're like, say you are someone that's Gen Pot, you're listening, say you're someone that's just trying to lose a couple pounds, like what we were saying earlier on, we've celebrated other people just making decisions to not eat the chips with their fish supper. We've celebrated people being able to get to bed an hour earlier. Like for us, those things, like we can do those things quite comfortably, but we know the effort it takes to do those things. You maybe don't want to get ripped like Ross. You maybe don't want to step on stage like Ross and I. Like you maybe don't want to do that. But we can appreciate what you do want to do. And again, this isn't us saying that we're better, but what we have done is we've been able to take off like 20, 30, 40 kilos. 20, how many kilos have you taken off now, Ross?
Like 22, I think the height of the weight loss or the fat loss was 22
Yeah.
kilo.
So that's like 48 pounds or something. Probably closer to 50.
Something daft like that.
Like that's how much he's managed to take off. So if you're someone that's struggling to take off a couple pounds, Ross still sees it as each week he was taking off a pound, 2 pounds. There was bigger
Yeah,
drops, but you had to put in
yeah,
more effort. So Ross
yeah.
knows what it's like for you to go through it. But then there's like this: the step up is being able to do it for 17 weeks. The next step up for Ross would be, not entirely sure. Once you're on stage, that'll be the next step, won't it? Once you've stepped on stage, you're then a competitive men's physique athlete.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's winning shows, it's winning title, like UK titles. Like that's then the next step. And then that's him earning these spots at these tables. And I guess that's a good question to run straight into, Ross. Do you think you would do this again?
I would like to do this again. I definitely think that the challenge has been something that I've thrived under, and I think that, you know, with another period of growing some muscle, I think what I've realised is, and again, I don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, I look like I've got some pretty good proportions when we've come, you know, where we're at. Like my waist has come in nicely, and I've got, you know, a decent proportion and a decent taper. So I think if you add some more muscle to that, it could look pretty good. I also have got to be very realistic about timelines, etc. too, and priorities. Now, I know there is the element of selfishness that I've spoken about, but I also know that Alice could 110% get a pro card in the IFBB Pro League. I don't doubt that for a second. I know that she has the potential to do very, very well. Is it realistic for me to prep again before she goes for a big push for a pro card? I don't really know. Do I have to consider my parental duties? 100%. I just have to weigh things up really. So whilst I would love to do this again, is it a given that I will do it again? I'm not entirely sure at this time. It just depends on how timings are. Obviously, Alice and I are engaged and we would like to get married. We'd set the sort of rough timeline for like 2025, but it all just depends. If I don't compete again, all my energy then goes into one, being a good dad, two, supporting Alice on her way to becoming a pro, and three, just continuing to fucking enjoy training and love changing my physique, whether it's going to the depths of prep again or not, I don't know.
Yeah. How would you describe, or like, would you say there's been a big difference between the nerves when you started prep to now?
Nah.
No.
Nah. I didn't really have. So at the start of prep, it was just a case of just put one foot in front of the other and just make it through each day. And that's the mindset that I've had to have every single day. Like about 4 days ago, I was like, I'm actually going to be on a stage in some shorts being judged. You know,
Yeah.
physically someday there are going to be a group of people there judging you, like and under the judging criteria, but then a full crowd of people behind those who are also judging you. So there was that. The past couple of days I've been a bit like, there's definitely some nerves coming, but I've still got 4 days to get through. I've still got boxes that I need to tick. I still need to make sure that I get my steps in. I still need to make sure that I eat all my meals. I still need to make sure that I'm well rested. You know, there's still stuff that I need to be done. Like, we're not fully there yet. So, day at a time. I don't have
Yeah, yeah.
time to focus on being nervous. I think I'll get nervous when I'm waiting. I think when I'm waiting about to go on stage or, you know, the day before when there's just a lot of sitting about, might be when the nerves kick in, but I'm not thinking about that yet. I just need to get there.
Yeah. Remember, did I send you those screenshots of what I went through, didn't I? Did I? If not, I will do. I can remember feeling exactly like that the night before my first show, being like, I've put all this effort in, and now it's up for someone else to judge how well I've done. I was like, nah, fuck that. I was like, I've given my all. I've put my all into this. I've done my best, and I was like, and that's all. That's all I can be. That's all you can be proud of, really. Like if you win, you
I've
still
said
just
from day
give
one,
your
like
best.
I've always said from day one, that I'm obviously nobody goes on stage to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not going on stage and going, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna come last, bitches, yeah. Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
own that shit. But I also know that, like I said on podcast one, if I can make it on stage, that's a win for me personally and my own personal confidence and my own self confidence. And I also know that it's setting some big markers for Rio as well and what you can achieve with some hard work. You know, I've got two very different reasons there. Obviously, it'd be nice to come home with some sort of medal or a trophy or something. Of course it would.
yeah.
Who wouldn't? You know, I'd be lying if I said it would be fucking cool, but it's not at the forefront of my mind. I'm not competing to lose, but I'm also not going up there with the sole intention of winning.
Yeah.
A win to me looks totally different than a trophy here.
That's cool. It's cool. It's exciting to see as well because when I came up to Inverness and you're posing, like I said to you, I was like, man, you're going to look wild. Like you're going to look wild. And I can remember you just kind of being like, yeah. And then slow, like, I think, I forgot his name, Freshwater. I think he was starting to tell you, like, yeah. I think Ali will have been telling you probably for a long time, or maybe he's holding off, maybe he's holding back. Yeah,
No, he started telling me now.
yeah, I sent you the Morpheus thing saying like he's starting to believe. Like it's been cool to watch. Like it's been cool to see it happening. It's been class. It has. It really has. And you genuinely have put in an unbelievable effort, man. You've gotten yourself unbelievably lean, like unbelievable. And you should be proud. And you do deserve to give yourself a big pat on the back. And you definitely have earned that seat at whatever freaking imaginary table we're talking about.
Yeah, man.
I don't really know if there was much more I wanted to ask. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to talk about. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add or.
Nah, I think we've covered some really good points there for things that clients can take away, but then also people in general when it comes to just believing in yourself and being able to pat yourself in the back. Plus, I'm absolutely fucking bursting for the toilet.
Yes, so am I. Right, Ross. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on again. Everybody here is wishing you fucking all the best for the weekend. You have genuinely done unbelievable, mate, and I'm like mega proud of you. Genuinely, mega proud of you.
Honestly, I really appreciate it. I always appreciate anybody that takes the time just to say, well done. So I do really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll be screaming from the stands for your PCA show. I'm sure I bought my ticket for.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's I'll see you then next time. But honestly, Ross, thanks so much. I'm gonna stop it now. I'll speak to you soon,
Okay.
mate.